I already did.
Too late. Too late.
Any other time you yell it, hit the button, hit the
Right?
button. Sheesh.
Oh man, I'm ready.
Darn it, Leanne. I can't.
It's your fault.
Oh yeah, it's up. It's up. So it's it clicked on this time. So we're good. All right, I think. So anyway, with no more delay, welcome back to Nothing But
Answers.
the place to come to get all the answers you need. We have all the answers, and we have the full staff here. And anything you need to know, just tune in here each Friday, and we can answer all your questions. Don't go on anywhere else. Don't ask anybody else. They really don't have the answers. They're probably lying to you. We're telling you the truth. So let's introduce the cast. Welcome back, Doc. We missed you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes, we missed you.
It's nice to be missed.
I was stalking your page, watching your trip. I felt like I was with you.
Really? I missed you guys too, though. It's nice to be away, but I did miss you.
Nice.
That's why I had to try to sneak in for last Friday. Tried to get in a little bit.
We appreciated it. We definitely did. But how was your week? How's your week back?
My week back was good. Seemed like it went by pretty quickly, as we always say. Went by pretty quickly. No major incidents of any kind. No tragedies.
Okay.
You know, at least not in my circle, which is always good.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good. Good. Hey, welcome back.
Yes, welcome, Doc.
Lee Little, what's good with you over there?
What's happening?
We're not doing this today. We are not doing this. 2 minutes in. Let's not. How's your week?
My week was cool.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you. Nice talking to you, Leanne.
No problem.
How you doing, Ruth?
How are you?
I'm good. How was your week?
It was great. A big celebratory week for me and Hubs. We just celebrated life, celebrated another year round. Loved it.
Isn't that every week?
It is, because I'm a true Leo. Yes, it is. Yes, but we did even more hype than usual. So yes.
Anything you care to share that was hype, like was special? Anything?
Just like usual, hanging out and enjoying ourselves and whining and not whining, but fake whining and dining.
Gotcha.
But just having a good time together. Celebrating life. Another year round.
And that's really good, because I mean, you do and Doc both kind of show like, look, relationships can work. You can be together for a long time and still enjoy each other and still have fun. It still seems very fresh, right? With you guys, it still seems very fresh. You know, some relationships are stale. They don't hang out anymore. They don't do anything. But you guys, you seem truly happy. So that's definitely something good to see.
We hanging in, right, Doc?
There you go. It's a lot of work there. I know it's a lot of work. But you guys make it look. You don't show the wear and tear, so that's good. Okay.
What they say, you don't look like you struggle,
right? Who say Neil?
We don't look like our struggle.
No, you know, you guys still look. Everybody looks young and youthful, and that's good. Some people look beat up. You know, it'd be 27 looking 90. Like, whoa,
stop.
Or 27 years.
Life is not kind to everybody. It's just
listen, I hear you. So let's get to. Hey, Vaughn, how are you doing, bro?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling.
How was
that quiet week? Quiet.
Okay.
That's it.
Your friend who called in last week, was she all right? Because she called in, she couldn't really get the question out.
She was cracking up. Yeah, I ended up talking to her, reaching back out to her.
Tell her it's okay. She can call. Oh, she was driving? Tell her don't ever call and drive again, because she can't do two things at once. Right. Down somewhere, get her thoughts straight. So, good week for me. You know, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be hot again next week, because this mild nonsense is not for me. Cold nights. It was freezing out night. Like, build a snowman cold. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's building a snowman in summer. Leanne likes this weather. I don't know why.
I love it.
I do too, Lee.
This pre-cuffing season weather.
Doc don't like it either.
Nobody likes cold,
Tripping.
right? No, that's just ridiculous.
That's the cuddle weather. It's like, ooh, get some hot chocolate and cuddle up.
That's pre-cuffing
Yeah.
season.
Nobody
right.
wants to hold
This-
you all
this-
the time.
This is the draft. This is the draft. Right now, you're looking at the prospects. All right.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, real fast, we get into tonight. Anything, any topics, anything this week? Anyone want to talk about? Anything came up? Anything people want to make aware of? But Ruth, go ahead. What do you want to
Well,
say?
we're just talking about, long-term love and the work it takes and so forth. I just found out Judge Mathis and his wife
Right.
broke
I
up
seen that.
after what, 39 years.
39 years.
That was a little
They got-
disheartening.
They got divorced.
Yes.
Irreconcilable.
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Say.
oh, that's what they say. They
39.
use that when you don't want it to be messy in the public. So you just say this. We're not going to say exactly what happened.
Right.
She does want alimony, from understanding what I saw.
39 years.
39
39
years.
years.
Down to
I think he's 65,
two.
if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Okay.
I don't know
didn't
how
check.
old she is. I
Mhm.
don't know how she, and I was watching something, and the question was, what makes you leave at
Mm.
that point in the game? At
Mhm.
65,
You gotta
what
have,
makes
like,
you leave at that point? And because what are you going to do? Are you going to be outside again? Are you going to go back outside in this world and trying to, again, your game ain't sharp. Don't, hey, Miss Lady.
Ah,
That ain't going to make the panties drop. So,
right.
Can
you
I
know,
get you a-
sometimes it is cheaper to keep them, or it might be if you can work it out. I don't know what they broke up for, but what
No.
would make you want to leave at that time?
Mm.
39
gotta have
years?
a outs-
I mean,
You
it
gotta
could
have,
be
like,
just peace.
Oh, you might be right, Doc. Mm-hmm.
But you
You
won't
want
get a
peace
piece
now.
easy anymore, though.
Well, who cares? I mean, sometimes that ain't at the top of the list, Daryl.
She said, okay.
Right,
Sometimes that
right,
ain't at the top of the list.
right, right. And they did say at 65, we don't know what's rising and setting anyway. So,
Yes.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it
my
had to be something that could not be tolerated any longer.
right. Or someone said maybe they were waiting for that last kid to get to some benchmark before they said,
okay.
you know what, this has been going left. We said we're going for little Johnny. Now little Johnny has done such and such. Let's go. Like Doc said, let's get this
Wow.
piece going. I'd rather live in solitude and peace than come home to this. Than come
Yeah.
home to this.
Yep.
That's,
He gonna
that's-
get him a motorcycle and a pit bull watch.
Ooh.
He gonna be happy.
Ooh. He probably already had them. That's why she got
Right.
that's why she left.
A
Right.
lot of people wait for the kids to be
Yes.
at certain
Right.
milestones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? The kids that I see, the adult kids that come into my office and talk about their parents being together, they say they should have done it a long time ago.
Time ago.
They shouldn't have stayed together for me.
Wow.
So, and that's interesting because I don't think we see this conversation enough, and we truly believe in our hearts we're doing it for the kids, or maybe that's an excuse we're using. But you're hearing firsthand, Doc, like, no, we knew you guys were in turmoil. We knew you weren't happy.
Mhm.
And guess what? We weren't happy seeing you guys not happy. We would rather been having two Christmases instead of one.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
Mhm.
Get it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. But
Yeah.
that
So
just
that's
goes
something
to
to think
show
about.
you
That's
the
something to think
years
about.
in means nothing. I talk about it all the time, means nothing without it really working internally. It could be 49 years and it's misery.
Right.
Yeah.
Both people have to be willing to work and willing to do the work to keep the relationship together. So I really wonder what, did they do the work? Did they try? Or was it like, what was really going on?
Mm.
They could have had an understanding long ago. Like you said, that child hit
Yep.
a certain benchmark.
Mhm.
And if he's 65, he can retire. She might be not that far behind him or whatever. All right, I'm at that retirement age. You go do your thing. I go do my thing. Marry all the kids out the house.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Let's go.
I guess I guess when I get there, we'll see what the thing is at 65.
Because
I mean, but he always see. I know I would have a problem with him anyway. Cause I know every argument. He's like, you look like a crackhead. You do crack and sing, don't you? You look like a crackhead.
Right.
That's the first thing he say in any argument. I know you get tired of hearing that. Just merching my character, calling me a crackhead.
Right.
Who knows? If we could be a fly on the wall, who knows?
Yeah. I can't wait for that book to come out.
Right?
You know, almost 40 years in, and because they said she met him before he was anything, before the
When
TV, before all that.
he was a
She
hustler.
there before that. So she was with him with his rise, which I wonder if when he started getting famous, did he kind of trip off that fame a little bit, and she kind of had to deal with some things. Well, didn't have to, but chose to deal with some things that his newfound fame may have thrust him in certain directions that maybe that fame is, like I said, is a terrible drug.
Some outside babies or something like that.
Mm.
I haven't heard that. And if he did,
I haven't heard that either.
Quiet. Right. We haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about him like that, which is interesting. That's why it's kind of, I think, a surprise to most people. There were no things out there. There were no.
Yeah.
Nobody knew there was trouble in his paradise.
Maybe they just got tired of each other. That happens too.
Listen, I get it. 39 years is a long time to do anything every day on a regular basis.
Daryl.
It's a long time.
That's a long time.
They saltines now.
They ain't even got no salt left on them. They ain't even got no
my
salt
God.
left. Ain't nothing left.
They just teens now. They got teens.
Lord.
They used to be rich, now they just teens. Okay, so we have a caller, guys and girls. Let's see. Caller, hello, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Who do we have the privilege of speaking with?
Okay, so I've never done it before, although I do see this live coming up on my Facebook alert quite often. So I just decided to click in today because I'm on my way home from work and I wanted to see what it was all about. So I wasn't sure if when I clicked in onto the live, if my video was going to show up and if it was going to be an interactive thing. But I'm just curious as to, what this chat is all about and what I can get from it.
So if you might have missed a header, Nothing But Answers is the place to come to get all the answers you need. We have all the answers. So whatever the problem you have or anything you want to know, we got the answers for it. So tonight we're going to we're going to talk about accountability. Right? We're going to talk about being accountable for one's actions. Who's more accountable? What is accountability? How can we become more accountable? How can we hold our partners accountable? These are things that we're going to discuss tonight. So we're going to try to help people with accountability, help relationships with accountabilities and friendships, work relationships. All these things encompass accountability, right? The more accountable you are, the better it can work. Accountability can be a very positive thing, right? It can be. Mm-hmm. So, are you accountable?
Question.
What was the question? What was her question?
Caller, she said she had a question.
Okay. What is your question, caller? I missed it. I talk a lot sometimes.
Sometimes.
Doc, you guys are haters. Always the ones in your circle.
Is she there?
Caller?
No, so yes, I'm here, but I'm just trying to figure out the entire format of what's happening right now. So when I logged in, I could see that there were some icons, of pictures, perhaps videos of people who are leading this conversation. So I just wanted to know, what's the format of this? How am I being represented in this call?
We hear your voice. We can only hear your voice.
Oh, you can only hear my voice.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You call in, we hear your voice. Okay. We don't get to see you. You get to see that the real handsome guy in the black hat. That's me. You see the real handsome guy. So I'm there. We got Doc and Ruth also on screen, and Double L and Vaughn are off screen right now.
Okay. So everybody who's represented in the pictures, are you all the founders of this live chat podcast?
Yes.
I want to know a little bit more about what you all are doing and what your mission is, because this is my first time logging in.
We're here to enlighten people and make their lives better. And honestly, we're just trying to have some conversations that maybe people don't have and should be having. Just like earlier, if you would have heard, we were talking about why maybe Judge Mathis and his wife broke up. And one theory was it was because of the children. Well, Doc said in some of her sessions, children who come in say, listen, we wish our parents would have just split because we saw how unhappy they were. Right. So the conversation now is for people, maybe if you're in a relationship that is you're trying to stay together for the kids, it's not beneficial. It's not really helping. The kids know what's going on, and you can be doing more harm than good because they're sitting on Doc's couch trying to work these things out. So this show is all about trying to have different perspectives, bring different perspectives, different situations. We all have different knowledge, and we bring that to all topics, and then we open it to people. So you can call in, you can write in.
Okay.
And if I can interject, when
before, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No, you got it. You're the guest, please.
No, I was just going to say that. Did you all decide that this was how you were going to lead the conversation, talking about Judge and his, circumstances, or was it just happenstance and it came up and that's where we are right now?
So that part is happenstance. So we started off with a current events. Most shows do. We say, hey, is there anything that's going on current? Someone brought up Judge Mathis and we discussed it. We just started discussing it. Like the real topic tonight is accountability. But since the Judge Mathis came up, we started discussing it and giving, we opined on it. We gave our opinions, and then Doc definitely gave some
insight,
some insight or some facts from what she's seen as well. So,
okay. So I don't have any other questions pertaining to accountability or anything pertaining to my personal life right now, and I'm sure that's going to come up because I do plan on staying on this call.
Okay.
But I will add a little bit. I will add a little bit to the conversation about the judge.
Okay, let's go.
I'm a therapist, and I currently have an individual who comes to see me every week. He's in his 60s, and he's been married for a long time. Right now, he's questioning whether or not he wants to stay in this marriage, and the reason for it is he has come to a certain level of spiritual enlightenment, and his wife is not necessarily there with him. He's also thinking about, because they're both retired, but he's also thinking about where he wants to go in terms of his contribution to the world. So he wants to go into life coaching, and like I said earlier, he's come to a different level of spiritual enlightenment, and she's not necessarily there with him, and it's causing a lot of conflict in their marriage. And it's not necessarily that they're not in love anymore and that they don't want to be with each other, but they're finding each other, spending less time together. He's sleeping on the couch. They're, taking trips and doing things away from each other because of this new enlightenment that he has. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about that. So perhaps I can take that into my next session to help, continue to advise him.
Doc. So we have our resident doc ourselves. And what would you say to that, Doc, if anything?
I think some of the important questions are, can they reconcile where they are? He's saying that she's not where he is spiritually, but is she willing to meet him where he is? Or is she at a place where she's like, no, you do your spiritual journey and I'm just going to do me? And if it's the spirituality, go ahead.
No, she said, go ahead. She was just.
Yeah. So, I would want to know her perspective on this. Like, I would probably bring her into a session and get her perspective, because a lot of times we interpret our partner's responses and things that they tell us and ways that they behave. And sometimes the the interpretation can be wrong. So I would definitely want to hear her side and see what she has to say, because she may say, no, I'm willing, but he's not giving me the opportunity.
Mm.
Right. So naturally I did, propose this, joint session idea to him, because I can only give him my perspective and my feedback based on his side of the story.
Right.
But he also feels that he, as my identified client, is not ready to bring her in.
Right.
But he's also giving me some background on who she is. So both of them are pastors, and she's really locked into, her Christian morals, core values, and so on and so forth. And he's a very intelligent man. He knows all the right questions to ask his wife, but he's stuck because he cannot get her to understand, where he is right now and where he's going. So that's his biggest dilemma coming to see me in therapy is how do I get her to shift in her perspective and perhaps maybe change some of those personality traits that she's locked into. And it's becoming a challenge for me in therapy because I really don't know exactly what to say to that. Although I do my best, obviously bringing it back to process level for him. But I can't get her into therapy sooner than I would like to. And at the same time, he's already asking her and presenting to her some of the resolutions that I would naturally present for him in therapy. So it seems like she's locked into her personality. She's locked into her religion while he wants to expand.
Go ahead, Vaughn.
No, I was going to ask a question. I am the worst person here when it comes to relationships, but I can own that. But I will ask this: it sounds like they're at a point that no matter what it is, like they've become completely unbalanced.
Or not they. All we can know is he has come completely unbalanced. We're only hearing his presentation or what he feels to be going on. So what we do know is that he is on the fence with things. He's struggling with some things.
Right, and it's become
unbalanced. That's tough. That's tough. And how long were they? Do you know how long they were married in total? I know he's 60, but how long were they together?
30 plus years.
Gotcha.
30 plus years. And, I tried to get some of his, initial feelings about everything. And I asked him straight away, do you still love her? Do you still want to be in this marriage? Because if depending on that goal for him, then treatment will go in a certain direction, right? So he wants to be in this marriage. Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry because I just told you guys that I'm driving home from work. I'm sorry.
No, you're
good.
I'm
driving to New York. I'm driving to New York.
You got it.
So, my perspective as a therapist with this particular situation is to teach him radical acceptance, right? Are you capable of pursuing your desires, pursuing your mission in life while still coexisting and loving and still being fruitful in this marriage, right? So that's where we are in therapy right now, where he just has to radically accept and continue to love and appreciate who his wife is while they may not be on the same page.
Right.
So, having this conversation with all of you intellectuals is that even possible for a marriage where you can just radically accept somebody for being not where you are essentially and still have a successful marriage?
I think that would be, I know Doc said this before. What is it called? You need to know their story or something, like how he interprets relationships. So he may be able to radically accept it if he's seen that before, but if he doesn't know what that looks like, he may not be able to do that, right? I mean, he's coming looking for help, but he doesn't know what help looks like either. I think sometimes people think they go to therapy and there's going to be a magic word you say to fix everything. There's going to be a magic way of doing things. And there's really not. So, really he has to be he has to see, like you said, do I really want to be here? Right? Do I really want to be here? Not lip service, not like, do I really want to be here and do I really want to fight for this relationship?
And what is he willing to change? Because he wants to change her. But what is he willing to change in order to stay in it?
Good point.
Wow.
You mean he got to be accountable?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we've been talking about in processing and therapy is how offended he is by who she is, right? So we've been talking about changing his perspective and not taking things so personally, right? Allowing her to be who she is as an individual, and accepting all of that and every little thing that he does or doesn't agree with when it comes to him, for him to just be accepting of that and not take it so personally, because when he's taking things personally, it becomes conflict. So he's willing to change in that he's not expecting her so much so to move with him. And that's been a hard transition for him, because it takes a lot for him to like manage his anger and manage his expectations. So that's pretty much where we are right now, because all of the questions that you guys are asking me, and that's why I love this conversation so far, are the questions that I bring up in therapy already. And I think that, I already appreciate this conversation in just these short minutes, because you all are reaffirming to me that I'm asking all the right questions. I am helping him to get to the right place of his own personal resolution and all of this.
And caller, if I may, I hear you saying that it's not the right time to bring in the wife at this time. I'm wondering, has the wife looked for individual counseling? Because when you're in your 60s plus, you're at a different place in life than you were when maybe they got together in their 20s or whatever. And maybe individual counseling can work for each of them individually to see if there's any togetherness after that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, because that's one of his biggest conflicts, is that he has presented that to her, and she doesn't believe in therapy. She believes in God, and he hasn't even disclosed with her that he's seeing a therapist on his own.
Wow, that's tough.
That is tough. That's double
That
tough.
Very tough, right? Because he doesn't feel like he's being supported. He has to hide things. Doesn't feel like he can talk to her. That's why he doesn't want to bring it to the session, because I can't talk to you anyway about this, because your ideologies are so different. And maybe they might have shared that ideology at one point, but he's grown.
Right.
He's like, listen, this is the separation has become because he's growing, and she's maybe growing in a different direction.
In a different way.
That's going to be very interesting. That's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, because they are on two different paths, because she's not even ready to start hearing where he's at.
And that may be a critical part, because I know my husband and I, long-term marriage, we went through some stuff and did individual work before bringing it together as a couples therapy. So that's a piece that's critical as you're making your own milestone changes at each decade. Wow. That's critical.
Right. So Ruth is our resident married person. She's been married since she was 7.
You always get the age wrong.
And she has, she talks about going through all the steps, the therapy, the growing together, because they were so young when they got together, and they grew, and they had to grow together and grow apart to go together. So we learn a lot from, and Doc as well, from being married for a long. How long have you been married again, Ruth?
38 years.
38 years.
41. Yep.
41 years. Yep. So right out the womb, she got married. It was
right
crazy.
out the womb.
She's 40.
Jump right in that playpen.
Yep.
So you have an uphill battle, because it doesn't seem like the wife is on board. And when she finds out that he's going to therapy, she's going to feel a violation too. She's going to feel betrayed.
Yes, for sure.
She's going to have a lot of anger towards this whole situation, which is going to be another thing you have to be preparing for, because when you do break this to her, it's going to be met with a lot of disdain, a lot of trust that is lost now. It's, you were going to sneaking around my back.
And it may make her question his faith, which is going to be another issue.
Oh, absolutely. Because her thing is now, we don't have the same faith. right? If I don't believe this to be what you're doing, you're going to other people, not going to God. She's going to question his faith, and then maybe question his leadership, right? Because as a pastor, and if they go by the, God, man, woman, she may not start now questioning his leadership. So there, he's going in for uphill battle too, because it does seem like he's going for help, and she's just not there.
Yep.
At this point in time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting.
And that's another theme that comes up in therapy. And every week I give him the homework assignment of telling his wife that he is in therapy and why he is in therapy, to open up that conversation so that she can, start to understand where he is and where he needs her to be, and perhaps even open up the conversation for what she may not be talking about in terms of where she needs him to be.
Right.
And every week he comes back into my office and he says, I didn't have that conversation with her. And we talk about those barriers. And one of the barriers is that, she could be a little bit soft, and, she's not open-minded. She has a little bit of a temperament. And so he wants to keep her happy, at the sacrifice of his own comfortability and peace in his marriage. So it's a really sticky situation. There's a lot of times when, I facilitate couples therapy, and one of the first questions that I ask is, do you want to be together? And one of the things I really do understand about this guy is that he really wants to be with his wife, and he really wishes that she would change. Right. So, that's where I am. So I guess the question that I'm going to pose to you all is, and oh my God, I've never looked at Facebook to be this sort of benefit to me. So thank you all for being available.
Thank you for calling.
I guess my question is, absolutely. I guess my question to you all is, what advice would you give to this husband who, is already doing the radical acceptance, who is already, making changes for himself and may not have the partner to evolve and grow in the way that he needs her to, but still wants to be in this marriage? So what would you advise this guy to do?
So what I would advise him to do is, you have to rip that Band-Aid off, right? You have to tell her, because either way, him doing the work by himself is not going to get the couple together. It's not. And he needs to just get it out there and open and see how she's going to respond. Because either way, either she's going to leave or stay. But this is not him sacrificing his happiness for her. It's not working, because you're not even allowing her to be a part of it, right? So he has to just tell her, right? Tell her, and then let the chips fall where they may. Because she's going to leave, she's going to leave. You can't make anybody stay, or you can't make them happy. So, because when it comes out, it's going to be a bombshell anyway. So sooner than later, get it out, explain why he's doing it, and maybe she'll accept it. But if she doesn't, then he got to let her go anyway, right? Because you can't live your life trying to make someone else happy. You can't.
Doc, help.
Absolutely.
Help.
Vaughn said help.
I respond to you from the perspective of my client. And I'm sure if he had heard you say that, because he's heard me say that, he would say that we have a congregation looking up to us. He's a life coach. He's a leader in the community. And him divorcing or separating from his wife might be more than he's ready for. Right? This will change his current circumstances. This will change his trajectory in terms of his position in the church and in the community. So he's afraid of how, this conversation that might seem simple to all of us to be life-changing for him.
So this is where religion is a problem, because he's living a lie. So you're lying anyway. So if you're going to continue to live a lie and live a fake life to be happy in other people's their view, that's silly. You need to go tell the truth, and then people might even respect you, because other people are going through this. Other people are dealing with these things, right? So I think, and that's the problem with sometimes pastors. The thing, they got to be, they can't have any reproach. They got to be perfect, and then they secretly do these type of things, right? He shouldn't be worried about everybody else. And if he is a true so-called pastor or whatever the case may be, then he wouldn't be out here living a lie, right? It's better to tell the truth and shame the devil.
All right, so that's not religion. That's him trying to save face in front of people, because that's the same thing that happens with rock stars or anybody else that holds any type of status, they don't want to tarnish their brand. He's trying, in the sense of speaking. It's not so much the religion as I don't want to look bad in front of all of these people when I've
No, it is religion, Vaughn, because getting
not.
divorced is not what a pastor should do. Anything
It's
a
not.
pastor does, he's looked at as less than. That's why pastors don't tell what they do.
So
If you go in front of your congregation and you say you did something wrong, the congregation doesn't follow you anymore because they look at you as holier than thou. That becomes a problem.
That is not spirituality or religion. That is, again, how you are perceived in people's eyes. And he is worried about the perception of how people are going to look at him.
Right.
That don't have nothing to do with religion. So
no, it does.
No, it does not.
It has to practice their religion.
No,
religion is the practice.
Yes,
people practice that they hold a pastor up in the air.
So
yes,
again,
most people do.
That's why he's in a spiritual place that he's gotten to where he's not. That's what you're talking about. He's not there no more.
He's living a lie.
So
he's not in a spiritual place. If he's in a spiritual place, he wouldn't be living a lie. He wouldn't be sticking around behind his wife.
He said he came to a spiritual place, right? A different spiritual place, which has got him into therapy right now, right? So now he's in therapy. Whatever it is, you don't know what type of wife he got. So
Wait a minute, when do you if he's following Christ and all that, when do you say, you know what, I'm gonna hide from my wife, I'm not leaving my house? I'm confused.
So
there's no spirituality in that.
No, it's not. That's him being human, and that's the human moment where he's like, I can't do it. I can't do it, and I can't hold this face up. So him getting to the point where he's actually abandoning that type of thinking, like how you're speaking of, he's walking into that now. But he's having an issue with how the people are going to perceive him. He put out a brand. If you look at it just plain, he built a brand. It's like being a parent. I built the whole entire image, again, an image, and it's going to get broken. Not knowing, he's thinking it's going to get broken. For all he know, it may work in his favor.
Right, because
you know what I'm saying.
If it's about God, it's not going to fall. Right, his brand is
about God.
That's what he's pushing.
His brand is him.
Go ahead.
Shamika Grant says he has to get his priorities in order, starting with himself.
Right,
and that's what I'm saying. It's about him. It's not even
about him and
religion.
his status in the church and how people are going to view him as a pastor.
So let me provide.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, let me just, because I've been working with him for a while, so let me just provide a different perspective where he feels that perhaps he's wrong, right? So he's questioning himself as if, you know, his expectations are, you know, out of line, they're inappropriate, or if he even should be feeling this way and expecting her to be, you know, in alignment with him. Because when we talk about religion, you know, we got to think about what it means to be an American, right? Like we live by certain laws, rules, and regulations. And when it comes to religion, there's certain laws, rules, and regulations that you won't dare to cross. Right. You won't dare to cross that because of the consequence that it might cause. So, you know, outside of, you know, him being human and him being, you know, a spiritual individual being, you know, there are certain laws and regulations and expectations that he has to adhere to. So he's coming to therapy saying, I'm questioning my own faith. I'm questioning my own role and place in this marriage because I don't even know if I'm thinking outside the lines of what I should be thinking. So he is having
done with a lot of
identity.
Things. Yes,
it's an identity crisis for him at this point.
So if he's, as I was saying, I may be wrong, but even if he's expanding spiritually, as he said, or he's coming to a different type of awakening that he's seeing, everything around him is going to be uncomfortable for a while because nothing's going to line up for you.
Right. It's definitely turmoil. Hey, we definitely would like to hear, you know, more about this and see, you know, what happens, the direction it goes in. Please, you know, update us in the future. Thank you for calling. This was a great way to start the show. Wow, it's 39 minutes in. Girl, you doing your thing.
Right.
So, but what? I'm sorry. What was your name again? I apologize.
My
She
name is
can't give.
Tracy.
Hello.
Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy, for calling in. We appreciated
Tracy.
this. Please call in
Yes.
again, and you can
Absolutely.
always write in, and any questions you have, you can definitely hit us up. But thank you very much.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Here at Nothing But Answers, what we do is we get to the bottom of things.
Or start some stuff.
He always.
Right. Pretty much.
We like to give the answers. That was very interesting. Thanks for that call. The call was great. It definitely made everyone put on their thinking hats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. What we got, Leanne?
Dun-dun-dun.
People don't want to admit this, but let's be real. You are responsible for your own misery. For a lot of us, accountability is such a tough thing to accept. But we don't want to admit that we are the ones that are responsible for the things we allow, the things we accept, the things we continue to grow in our lives. And that's where we look for everything as an excuse. We try to make the claim that this is how I was treated, that this is what was done to me, that you look at your past and you make that the center point of everything you've ever done, because it's so hard to be honest with yourself, to say that you have to be accountable. It's so hard to admit that you have to do something. Because let's be real, no one wants to do anything. You would rather just let things happen and unfold and not be responsible. But when you have to be responsible, that's when things get hard. When you have to be accountable, then you are the reason why things don't change. You are the reason why you continue the rut you're in. You are the reason why life hasn't been different. At some point, you have to take accountability for you and stop making an excuse as to why you aren't where you want to be. A lot of people don't.
What do we got to think about that with the introduction to accountability? Do you think that he was, Doc, what do you, I see your face, you over there thinking, what do you think, Doc? Was his?
I think he's right. Accountability is hard because it's just so much easier to blame others or to, make someone else responsible for your life.
Right.
Because then you don't have to do anything. You can always say it was this person or that person or the job or the man that ran in front of the car. I don't know. It could be anybody but you.
Right.
It's harder to look in the mirror and say, I'm responsible for my own life. It's hard to do.
It really is.
Yep.
And it takes you, I think it takes a special person to be able to start to get to the point to say, you know what, this is me. I can't blame someone else for even sometimes allowing yourself into situations that you shouldn't be in. Like you shouldn't be in certain situations, and if you allow yourself to be in them and something happens, like, why did you bring me here? Why did I bring you here? You're grown, right? You need to be accountable for your actions showing up that way.
Or you don't.
Okay, Leanne said, no, you don't. Okay, Leanne, tell me more.
I mean, sometimes it is other people's fault.
They lie.
Tell me when it's someone else's fault.
You know what I'm saying? We want to take accountability, yes. But we got to also take accountability to know when it's somebody else's fault. And hold them accountable for the things that they do.
Okay.
People lie.
I was laughing.
So that sounds a little bit like fool me once.
Shame on exactly.
Shame on me.
Right.
Fool me 3 times. The peace sign.
The peace sign.
Load the shot and let it bang on you.
Oh my God.
Well, again, and that's what it is. Sometimes when you're all right, sometimes you get into situations and, like I said, you got fooled. That's cool. That can happen to the best of us, right? The best of us has fell for the okie doke. The best of us have been tricked, bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray.
Plymouth Rock fell right on you.
Right. You know what I mean? Sometimes it happens
is,
that way.
My question is, how do you start taking accountability?
So, well, I think you have to take that personal assessment of yourself, right?
Yes.
You have to take that personal assessment of yourself.
And that means being honest with yourself, because we lie to ourselves all the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's really being honest.
Be truly ask yourself, are there areas I can improve in? Right? And be honest with your shortcomings. Right? A lot of times we have this grandiose view of ourselves, and we got it. We can do it. I know I'm right. You really have to take that self-assessment to say, sit back and think about what you can do or what you can't do, how you can be better, and what you're doing wrong. Like, this is wrong. I'm wrong for doing this.
And be open to feedback. You know, I had posted a while back, you know, some people take offense when they should be taking lessons or taking notes.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
that's just because someone is criticizing you doesn't mean that they're not right. You know, I mean, a lot of times it's how people say things, not what they're saying.
Right,
But
right.
some things you need to take the message,
Mhm.
and you know that'll help you take some accountability instead of getting offended by somebody saying that you didn't handle a situation correctly or you didn't do something right. Then say, "Oh, okay, maybe I did not."
Right.
So
Very
how do you so if you're one of those people, right? And some people, like when I went through whatever I went through, it affected your confidence and it made you defensive when people would say something to you because you're like, man, if I already messed up and you keep telling me I messed up, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to just burn the bridge, burn the village. And I think you have to take a lot of time to you, and that kind of helps with your self-assessment.
right.
Because you can't be around people when you still figuring out. If you really want to fix yourself where you know that there's a problem, you can't be around other people and get in other situations. And they didn't even got to be relationships, just other situations that may cause you to fail on healing yourself, because it affects your confidence, it affects
It does.
your mental
It can.
state,
It can.
your emotional state,
Right.
and then that just affects everything on the outside. Everything on the inside of you starts to pour out to the outside of you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would think once you you have to get to a point to say, you know what, acknowledge that you made a mistake, right? If you made a mistake, acknowledge that mistake. It's okay. I made this mistake, right? Without making excuses. It can't be I made a mistake, but such and such. I made a mistake.
I'm sorry, but
So that you haven't got to the point where you really acknowledge you made the mistake. Acknowledge I made a mistake. That was on me. That's it. Right? Take ownership of that. And then try to move forward. You really have to acknowledge things that you're doing first.
And I do get it. You know, if there's someone in your life or circle or someone you're around that keeps reminding you of something that you've done, that you've apologized for, that's a different issue. Because that person is using it against you for some reason. You know, they feel the need to keep reminding you of it. And that's something that will have to be discussed with that person.
I like with me, I constantly am in different situations, from business to personal, family, whatever. I have one friend, as a business partner, that this dude irritates me so much, but I make the biggest steps that I've ever made working with him, because he pushes me. You know, his whole thing is accountability. He literally, like, it's accountability. Yo, you got to go check this, look at this, and it be small things, and those be the things that we talk about religion. This is a phrase or something in the Bible. It's the small foxes. It's the things that you would miss, that you let run away from you, that like keep hope, keep you in that box. This particular person will always push my buttons, but through him doing that, it was like lifting weights. Like, I automatically started to pick up, like, okay, I know this person ain't trying to hurt me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I had other people where I rarely had to do anything, where I was like, this person don't care if I'm sleeping underneath a bridge. You know what I'm saying? And that's something people got to get on. I was trying to hold on to that person and ready to reject the other person that meant you the best. And that took a lot of time to get there. I mean, it took a lot of time for me to get there, because like how Daryl, he said, you got to get to a point where you just like, my bad. Some people get in those positions, they failed so much that saying my bad is another failure for them. It's not an up. You know what I'm saying? It's not a win for them.
They're not
And
ready
They're not ready yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it. But
Doc, do you think is there a difference in men and women accepting accountability?
I would say it would depend on the topic.
Right.
Then-
Right.
then-
That is
then-
true. I did look up some things between men and women and accountability. Psychosocial task. They said that men found that women did not accept more responsibility for feeling competent than men for these tasks. So, we know my psycho. It should be psycho because women don't accept
nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
How we get to nothing?
So, but with sex, they say with sex, women do accept more responsibility for the sexual task than men. So, I guess men be like, your fault. women accept that it's men's fault. That's what I think. That's what I heard. Your fault is terrible. Women just come to me like, this is what they do.
Oh my God.
That's a darn shame.
Did it talk about who had a harder time holding who accountable?
Let's see. So it said decision making. A study found that men were more responsible with decisions when paired. Oh, that was weird. I'm not reading that one. That was weird.
Why won't you read that one?
It went left. It said this one said decision making. Men were found more responsible making decisions when paired with the same sex, while women behave equally regardless of the audience or gender. So I guess when men are together, we're like, yeah, we're gonna watch the game. They all agree. They agree on going to the game. Women are like, no matter.
I don't matter.
Unbelievable.
So do y'all think women have a harder time holding men accountable, or men have a harder time holding women accountable?
Women have no problem telling you you're wrong. They
See
have no problem.
how easy that came off his tongue. It was without thought.
Yes, it just rolled right off.
It was a response. It just came. I agree, because men, we learn to pick our battles wisely, right? Like if I want
why you had to
something
put wisely on the end?
Right? Wisely doesn't fit with that.
See,
Right,
it
that's
does.
not
It does.
even go
If I
in
want
there.
something tonight, I can't say what you did wrong.
See?
Because you know you're gonna be ice queen tonight. So the
Ice.
wise decision is maybe say it in the morning after I get some.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was wise decision making. Look at the decision making skills right there. See,
Wow.
Right. So men have to. Women don't care where you're at, and she be anywhere. She'll bring it up anywhere. It's just, you be like, we have company. I don't care about them.
That's not
Sorry,
true.
y'all. I'm
That's
sorry.
not true.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
And it may
we
be-
ain't gotta hide nothing.
It may be easier for us to tell you. It may be easier for us women to tell you when you're wrong or doing something wrong.
No.
But
You
wait,
got-
but it's harder for us in the sense of how to tell you, because your egos are so sensitive, if you will.
No, well, if that was the case, you wouldn't tell us. You tell us
Well,
anywhere,
yes,
anytime.
you would.
place.
You still have to be
No.
told.
No, wait. You got to be told. You know what we don't tell you guys on a regular basis.
But you
Everything.
should. And you
No,
know
we
what?
shouldn't.
Listen, you
Again.
say that.
no, we shouldn't.
Again,
No, because I say that to my husband. I want you to hold me accountable like I hold you accountable.
you don't.
If not, I do, Daryl, because if not, you're not growing me just like I'm trying to grow us. It's not fair. It's not fair.
No, it's not.
Don't let me think I'm,
Ruth.
perfect in everything.
Ruth. No one thinks you're perfect. First of all, so
Yes,
first of all,
he
stop.
does.
Second of all, Yeah, he makes
Because
you feel that way because again, he knows he has to.
He has
No,
to.
but this is to your point that men don't do it, and you should.
No, I'm telling you why we don't do it. You're trying to tell me why as a woman, and I'm telling you why as a man we do it. Because it comes with things. It comes with beatboxing when we taste
Yep.
eye rolling. It comes with all of that. We don't want to deal with that. Right? And then it goes to other feelings and other things that we didn't even, hey, you know, you really didn't. The chicken was a little burnt tonight. Or was it burnt the other night? Go back to Julie. She didn't burn the chicken. Remember her? Never mind.
See,
You're fine.
your partner deserves to know that. You need to be honest and accountable to her.
Did you hear what I just said happened?
I
Ask how
heard
many
you, but
men.
you need
There's
to
only,
be accountable.
there's only so many times you can stick your hand in the bear trap. You're like, I'm not gonna stick it in there. I'm not sticking it in there. I'm just gonna hold it in.
Ask a man how. Ask
ahead,
any
Vaughn.
man how the percentage of his honesty with the woman that he's with. It's at least at 30%, maybe.
That's high.
Because that's high. Because getting the argument, she might remember you said this about me. I was saying because you told me to be honest. Which you know what?
Red Leanne, play that, please.
Wow.
Mistreating people and then avoiding communication with them is not protecting your peace, it is avoiding accountability. Let me just say that again. When you mistreat people and then cut off communication with them, you're not protecting your peace, you're avoiding accountability.
Sound like I'm
You
done
need to
saying
talk
what I
That
gotta
on
say.
Facebook.
And if you don't have the hard conversations, you'll have a hard relationship.
We saw that on Facebook, y'all.
Yes. Yes.
Right. He's still in his sermons on Facebook.
Yes, on Facebook.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna use that tomorrow.
Yes.
That's the Lord. That's the
But I think
Lord.
there's some truth in that. I think that when
There
you have a one-sided
yeah, for
conversation, it's terrible. You don't want to hear what has to come back.
Like that's what we were saying. You got to make them choices.
That was my whole point.
But no, it's not your point because
Yes,
you're
it
not
was.
just to observe yourself, Ruth. And by not being able to observe yourself, then when you do all that what you're doing right now, I don't want to deal with that. I'm not going to say it because I don't want what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
I can only imagine I'm having a good day. I'm like, oh, I want to tell her about what she did. Never mind. I want to have a good day.
Just tell me.
No.
Then
Your
that's
voice
not
is
giving
high
your
now.
partner any credibility. Give me that opportunity to respond in a good way.
Well, usually this is built over time. The responses we had were because so many times when we did say something, it became
An issue.
problematic and you were beatboxing, your eyes were rolling.
Stay away from them toxic women. That's what you need to do.
Okay, so Ruth is toxic because Ruth doesn't hear on the show.
No, she just said that she's open to criticism. She
No,
said she's
just
open to it.
Doc, just because you say something, don't mean you.
No, but
Yeah,
that's
mean
true.
you didn't tell me.
No,
Did you
that's
sound like it was open?
true. That's something
That's
I
not open
want
to you.
for my mate. I want that.
Yeah,
Man.
almost everything till it happens, and then it's like, why are you yelling? You told me to tell you, and now you're yelling. Why are you walking away like that? So I gotta make my own dinner tonight.
So
I'm not telling you no more.
so we got to be honest and then just deal with the outcome. And then
Yes.
later, I guess.
Yes.
No, you
No.
know what you just said? That's insane. You said I have to deal with the outcome because you can't control yourself.
That's my point. You shouldn't. You if you tell your partner something that they're not doing correctly, and they get an attitude and act all crazy, then that's your cue.
Isn't that called being a woman?
Oh
The-
my.
what? What?
But see,
Oh
that's
my
not
God.
giving a woman any
So-
credit at
so
all. I don't like that.
I will
I
say
don't-
this.
Yeah,
That's
you know why?
being
Because you're not in a
toxic.
position to observe yourselves.
And sometimes people have to get into couples therapy to see that their reactions are toxic.
Right.
And that they need to change
Right.
those
Yes.
because your partner should be able to be honest with you.
We
Yes.
should.
Mm.
and
But
have a
men
safe
are telling
space.
you across
Yes.
the board, we don't tell you a lot of things because we don't feel, not all, but a lot of women
Because
can't
you've
handle
come
things.
across a bunch of toxic women.
Exactly.
They can't.
But this
Right,
is
all-
men
And listen, all
everywhere.
men are
Can't
coming
talk
across a
to.
lot of toxic women.
Yeah.
All you guys are toxic.
Can't
Whatever
talk
planet
to.
y'all came from, they need to give us a different
Right.
version.
If you ask 10 men, 9 men are saying we don't tell you our feelings because you guys be bugging. But now we're just meeting the toxic ones, or is it just the ones?
And I'll say this: the reason why that may be because we deal with everything outside the house that is very aggressive, and then we come back to where we supposed to be peaceful, and it's that. So just to maintain that little bit of peace that we're gonna have, so we don't snap and shoot up the post office. You know what I'm saying? Men don't snap,
So
right? You gotta
go
come home and fight.
lie,
Right, lie,
fake,
withhold
lie and
information.
fake and hold stuff in, and
That's not a fair relationship.
Why do you
I wouldn't
think?
want that
time
for
out.
my man. I wouldn't want that for my man.
You guys say that, but you are the ones that are doing this.
No, we're not the ones doing that.
Look
Well,
at the
talk to
roof
your
right now.
friends.
No, we're not the ones doing that. This is a regular conversation.
Right.
You starting to
We don't have no
agitate
skin in the
now.
game. Everybody you talking to me.
So
Oh my God.
And they say you
So-
used to hurt the ones you love the most. So I don't imagine how beat down Roger
you know,
is. That's why high
Roger is
down
underneath the couch, right?
Quiet down.
Y'all are giving women a bad rep on this. That is
No,
not
women
good.
are giving women a bad rep on this.
No, all women aren't like that. And
We didn't say
No,
all.
not
We
all.
never
We
did
didn't
all.
say that.
We
We
said
didn't say that.
most.
well, there's
No,
most
no,
even is
Daryl.
too
Daryl
We
said
said-
all. I don't know why he's trying to fake. He said
First of all,
all.
We said 9 out of 10.
Again, when we say all, we don't mean all anything. There's no
You
absolute.
should say all
just speak
those that
way.
you deal with, like Doc
I,
said.
all the women on the
you.
screen that I see right now. That's what I say.
Leanne,
How about that? Leah, turn your camera on real fast so you can include that all. That's what I'm saying.
Leanne, no, she giving them a problem.
Hey, fellas, see how women can't be accountable for their own actions right here
Are
live?
you kidding me?
So
See how
let's
the voice
ask
is
you
going
a
what,
up?
question.
though,
Are
Daryl,
you
in all
kidding me?
seriousness, it takes two in a relationship to have that communication that's open, even things you don't agree on. So
You're right.
stop.
And you learn to what you can talk about and what you can't talk about.
No, that's not learning. That's
It is learning. Oh,
I'm
wait a
just
minute.
calling.
Wait, hey, Leanne, pause for a minute. We got a call, guys.
okay.
Okay, well, we had a call, guys. I don't know if I hung up on them. So, Leanne, do your thing.
Ready for your final challenge? All right, ladies.
Watch you jump at the words.
That's right, ladies. Today, you will be taking accountability.
Oh my goodness.
Hell no. Okay. All right. That's why I draw the line. Y'all doing way too much. Okay. You crazy? Who's taking action? I'm gonna head out. Okay. Good luck, ladies.
Then there were two. Ladies, today's challenge, you will walk up to the table and take accountability. There's no time limit. The first person to do it takes home $100,000. Are you ladies ready? It's on you.
Go grab it, baby. Look at that. Look at that.
Look.
He ain't lying.
So,
Ready for your
this-
final challenge?
This was a real live show. It was a real thing that happened, and we see
No,
what
it
happens.
wasn't. That's a made up mess.
Mess is
We
right.
see how women
So
wanted nothing to do with accountability. It scared the one girl so bad. Scared. Oh, she said,
she just quit.
I'm done. I can't be held accountable. And women, a lot of times, cannot be held accountable.
And that ain't us saying it. That was them. And, y'all,
We just seen the skit.
So that is
and it
so
was
funny.
it was a woman that picked that skit, not us.
And we see women don't agree with it. You can't help, they're not accountable for their actions.
There you go.
Men would be like, we definitely do that sometimes. Women like, no, those. We don't. We always.
Can't even talk about it. So how y'all say it?
Right.
What?
Saying anything.
Oh, go ahead.
There we go. They blame us when we're talking about you. We're gonna blame what men don't do now. Yeah, put the accountability light back on us. What don't we do, Bruce?
Take accountability in the conversation of whatever it is.
Okay, everybody, pay attention to Ruth's body language. She's mad. Her hands on her hip. We got a call, guys. Hello, caller. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. Going well. Who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
My name Khalif.
How you doing, Khalif?
Calling in from Philly area.
Okay, cool. So what do you got? What do you got for us?
I just jumped in, so I didn't catch everything. Well, I wanted to talk about the honesty. I heard y'all talking about honesty.
Okay, tell us.
I don't think that a lot of people can handle honesty, but I think the beginning part of honesty is where is it coming from? What type of place is it coming from?
Right.
Is it coming from a place that's nurturing our relationship? It's going to help us improve, help you improve, help myself improve, or is it coming from a place of destruction? You know,
Good
so
point.
if you know how to tailor it to a way that's going to help our relationship, then I think anybody can handle it. Right?
Okay.
But if it's coming from a place of being hurtful and destructive, then later it's going to be used against you as a weapon.
Right. Right.
Because of what say to you, remember you said, right? It might not happen on the spot, but it's going to come down the line of saying, remember you said this to me.
Right.
You can't ever take back what you said, no matter how much apologies you give.
Absolutely.
You cannot take back what was said.
Absolutely.
Right. So I always think when it comes to honesty, you know, it just really depends on where it's coming from. You know,
I would agree.
So that's why you might hear somebody say, and I'm sure everybody has dealt with it, man or woman, right? And a woman probably has dealt with, I mean, as a man, you probably heard something where your woman, you might have told your woman something.
Absolutely.
And then somebody else told her the same exact thing you told her. You received it better from them.
Right.
Wait, now that is totally a man trait right there.
Oh,
That's not even.
Could you let our guest speak?
Let's not even do that.
You know, I don't think it's a man or woman thing.
Right.
I think it's an accountability thing. If people having a tough time, somebody shining that mirror back on them and say, hey, this is who you are.
Right.
Right. You know, so no matter who you are, let's say a man's thing is our ego and our pride.
Right.
So imagine your woman telling you don't satisfy her sexually. Can you handle that?
Right.
Good question.
Can you really handle that?
I'm gonna tell you I can because I got mine.
You know?
Shame you didn't get yours.
You know,
That's what Dad was saying. Obviously, he can't call it.
So I'm just saying, you know, some people, like everybody can't handle your honesty,
your truth, right? They can't.
So oftentimes, and then I'm mindful, and I don't want to keep up y'all times.
No, you got it. You got it.
But also people forget that honesty can also change. So how I feel today might not be how I feel tomorrow.
That's true. Right.
So we'll be held to what we said yesterday. We'll be held to what we said yesterday.
Right.
True.
But we're being honest today, and it's a new day. Because once upon a time, my favorite color was blue. Next thing you know, it's gray.
Right.
Then it might be black again.
Right.
Am I lying to my lady when I tell her that?
Nope.
You know, so that's something. But let me get back to listening. I love what y'all doing. It's my first time tuning in. My man Vaughn.
Oh, wonderful.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks
Have
for
a good one.
joining us. Yeah.
Definitely.
Good contribution.
So he made a couple of good points, you know, because not everything that you say, or not all things should be told.
Right.
You know, I saw something that said everything that you say should be truthful, but not everything that is true needs to be said.
So what he kind of said too was, you know, sometimes you could say something and then someone else say and they could receive it. Kind of like us saying, we don't tell you everything because it could be problematic. And when he said, he's like, oh, good answer. That's right. It just happened right here, guys. You see this in 4K.
It's the way he said it, Daryl. It's the way
Wait a minute.
he said it.
Wait, no, it's the same thing.
No.
You guys
Maria
just
Hardy.
did it. Go ahead,
Maria
Ian, what you
Hardy
say, man?
said it's high off.
Who did?
Hi.
Maria Hardy.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up?
hey.
Y'all
Yeah, so
just
you
don't
guys just did it
y'all
just
don't
now.
talk to him all the time, so y'all received it, and y'all talk to us. You know, me and Daryl are saying exact. This is what. And
That is not, y'all didn't say the exact
Hey,
thing.
listen, not only did they receive it, they received it with a smile, Vaughn. It was like a smile. He had some great points.
He was deeper than the ocean. Listen to man, God.
And
You know
again,
what?
he just echoed what the other men on the panel said.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did because, like I
He
said,
said,
What
said
you
the same
guys
thing.
said was that you can't say things, that you would just hold it and not even tell the truth, not even talk about it. That's what you
Isn't
guys
that what you
said.
just
He
said?
just said.
There's some truths you don't tell. I
Hey,
could
that-
assume
you just said that. She just said that.
He didn't say everything. He said some.
No.
There we go.
Again, I didn't say we didn't say everything either. We said
And it's
some
a
things we
difference
don't tell you.
between it's a difference between when someone asks you something and you lie versus
We don't lie.
you volunteering some hurtful information. Because
We
what
don't
he's
lie.
saying is there's also the motivation factor behind it. Because some people will say to you, well, I'm just telling the truth, but it was all to hurt you, as opposed to trying to help you grow.
Just like you asking me about, most times people ask questions, they want an answer. So if you ask me, how do I look in something, or does this, do you want to go? Usually you have you already have a motive. And if you say something different, it could be problematic. Go ahead, Leanne.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. The lack of accountability is at an all-time high. Here are 3 signs of a person that lacks accountability. Number 1, when you call them out on their bullshit, they project it back onto you. They say, oh, I only did this because of this, because you did this, or I only said this because you said this, or you did this. Failing to acknowledge the fact that they are the one that is accountable for their response, no matter what you did. Number 2, they bring up past things that they have done, things that are in the past that they may have done differently, or so they feel. They are failing to take accountability for the fact that you are speaking about something that is happening in the present, not the past. Number 3, they deflect. Otherwise, they make an excuse. That may look like, oh, I'm sorry, I was in a bad mood, or my bad, I wasn't thinking. Again, not taking accountability for their actions. People who don't take accountability love playing the victim. They have a victim mentality. No matter how you try to explain it to them, they're the victim. It's always somebody else's fault, never theirs. Never. How dare you say it was their fault? Keep your contact with these type of people very, very minimal. I've said this before.
I agree with a lot of things she said. What do you guys feel?
Totally agree.
Yep. 100% agree.
I think she, people need to put you really have to put aside your pride sometimes to really become accountable for things, right?
Yes.
And
it involves vulnerability. Being
Right.
accountable.
And that's really tough today, right? It's really
Yes.
tough, like you said, because you don't want to say something and to be used against you into perpetuity, right? You don't want to say something like he kind of said, which was great. I felt this way today. Maybe I don't feel that way tomorrow. Like my truth was this today. Truth can be subjective because it's you, and we may grow, or you may think about something that may change. You should be able to say, listen, you know what? I know I said yesterday or whatever, but I kind of feel it. And your partner should give you space to do that as well. Right.
Yes.
Agreed.
So do you definitely, tell me if I'm right or wrong, with that you have to become accountable to yourself first before you can be accountable to other people. Like you got to be able to hold yourself accountable, and knowing that you're wrong, forgive yourself for making those mistakes.
And I think, and I add on that, if you don't know how to be accountable for yourself, how can you know what accountability is? Right? If you can't be accountable
100%.
yourself, how can you know what it is? And that's the problem. I think people want to hold everybody else accountable, and they have no accountability, which means you're not really holding me accountable. You're probably making excuses for something or giving reasons for why you're doing things, and you're calling that accountability, and it's not, right?
I had a conversation with somebody one time, and I told them, I said, this is somebody I love. I told them, I said, it appears every time something comes up or something that I'm opposed to, you side with it, and you've done this multiple times. And we had this long conversation, and it looked like at this end of this conversation, out of all the conversations we had got to a place where we leveled up. Like it was decent. But you know, the next day, this person said, the way that you feel about this is the way that I feel about that. And destroy like everything. I was like, what the? You know what I'm saying? It put me back in that place and put me right back in that spot where I wanted to not be involved. You know what I'm saying?
And that's really tough. Like you said, when you feel like you've came to a resolution, and then that person in their head has all these conversations that night, and when they wake up, they have a different resolution. You know what? I don't believe he was right. You know, and that becomes really. I mean, that happens a lot where someone has these conversations with themselves in their head, and they try to rationalize, or they still want to, we'll say, win. And when they wake up, they didn't trick themselves into believing whatever it is that takes them off the hook. You know, it wasn't really me. I know last night I didn't say that, but it wasn't really me. It really wasn't. I just said that because I wanted to. But you know, and now you're back in it again.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be very tiring. And I do believe like that I want that away from me. I want that away from me because you can't progress with someone who just is never accountable. Now, accountable doesn't mean you have to agree with everything I say.
Right.
You still can disagree with me. Right. Maybe you can understand where I come from, but don't agree, or you maybe don't understand where I come from. But like, I don't really see that. I don't really agree. But understand that may be my true feelings. At least just really recognize this is how I feel. Right. And because I feel a certain way doesn't make you anything. And I think people get that confused a lot of times too. You feel a certain way, they feel some way about the way you feel.
Right.
And that's not okay. I'm just telling you how I feel. It may not be true for you, but this is true to me. And I'm not even putting on you. I'm telling you, this is the way I'm feeling about the situation.
And that's
we can discuss it, and I may come to a different resolution after I see where you're coming from or see how you felt about the situation. Right now, both can be accountable because I see what you meant when you did that. Because I thought this, and in my head it was this, but you're telling me got you. That was me. I was bugging. I didn't see your side. That's what has to happen. But too many times people get upset because you feel away.
No, you're entitled to your feelings. I agree with that. You have to acknowledge somebody might feel differently. You're entitled. And then when you say your side of it, I always say when we're having these deep discussions, say that that's true of you, because that's the other piece. You know, you can't project that on your feelings that you're entitled to, but you can't project them onto me because that's true for you. I may not agree with the feelings.
Right.
So we've been trying to use words like that for you.
And that's really important. A lot of times I hear a woman like, well, I felt you didn't want to talk anyway. I didn't say that.
Right.
You didn't ask me if I wanted to talk. How you wanted to talk for me and tell me I want to talk and have an attitude because you said I didn't want to talk and I didn't say that.
She was talking to them people in her head.
Right. I tell women all the time, please ask 9 other people to sit down so you can stand up. And have you have a conversation. The 9 other people in your head, let them sit down. And you
it's not a good way to approach that.
Because that's what it is sometimes when people try to think for you. Don't think for me. You can ask me, and guess what? I'm grown enough to tell you how I feel about a certain situation, right? But when you take it upon yourself to think for me and then respond to yourself about what you thought I thought, that becomes crazy. Now you're mad. Like
how to feel. Yeah. On top of it. No.
So again, what are we doing?
I've never had it work. I've never had it work out for me where I've told, especially like with feelings or anything like that, where I've been honest with the woman or I've shown vulnerability and it worked out for me.
Wow.
They turned, I can't lie to you, like they turned me into a monster because there's never been a time where I've shown my chest.
For your actions.
Yeah,
no one can turn you into a monster. No one can turn you into a monster.
Let me show you. All right.
They're all in the background.
Monster that was in me. The monster that was
okay,
in me.
It was unleashed. It was unleashed.
They woke him up. They woke him up. And because it was everyone I showed, speaking of women, everyone I showed my heart to shot it, crushed it. I've had friends that I've been around where I've been more loyal to them than anybody else around them, and I lost in the end. I mean, lost. So, and I didn't turn. Let me tell you, I had situations where I had one group of friends, saw how another group of friends was treating me, and was like, "We're gonna annihilate that whole side of the block." I was like, "Nah, just let it go." And they saw like how loyal I was to. I've had women, like from me doing business, I've had women that I was in a relationship with see me doing everything that I can, elevating in my business, and I just needed a little bit from them, just talking to them, this, that, and the third, like dump on me. So, like that's why I said, like at the point, I'm not the relationship guy. I'm very good at character, but when it comes to relationship, I've been vulnerable, and as a vulnerable man, it has not worked out for me. And I don't know, I don't know how y'all do it, Daryl or anybody else. I don't know how y'all did it, but me, nah, it brought the dog out of me.
So
It
I would
definitely did.
say I would look into yourself more too to see how are you picking these people.
I told you my picker broke.
No, right. That's what I mean. That's a lot
Agreed.
of times our pickers are broke. And what
And what did I
happens is, I don't know how we do it, but we pick the same type of people.
And
I don't know
what did
what
I
it
say?
is. I look at myself all the time, like, how do I pick the same people?
Same.
How can I not pick the same people? How do I break that cycle?
Right.
I
What do I
picked
do?
two people. I picked two type of people. I've either picked the ones that were very, very good, but it was something status driven about them, or I picked the beautiful crazies, like extremely beautiful, extremely crazy.
So there you go. You're telling us the problem. You picked them. You picked the beautiful crazies, right?
No, I said, but me
You
picking
picked the beautiful girl.
I
who was
agree with
crazy.
that, and I picked the other ones too, but they had something that was not there. So simple and plain. Me, when we first started our first conversation, y'all asked for one, are you in a relationship? I said, no, I am a monk right now because I know that I have to work on everything with me. I don't get in relationships because I can't take this baggage or this werewolf. I don't need to take him over there. You know what I'm saying? And I know all my minefields, and I know all like my minefields and my triggers. You guys said something where Bruce has said, that truth is to you. Somebody used to say something similar like that to me. Like when she said it, the hair on my neck stood up like,
Sorry.
Nah, it's all right. It's all right, but
But that's a
why we
shame
had these
because you
conversations.
have real triggers. True.
We have real
Right,
triggers,
and we have to learn our triggers, know our triggers, and
diffuse them.
Keep control of ourselves before we can be with anyone else, right?
Right.
And then I think we have to vet people better instead of jumping into these relationships so fast too. I think this nowadays everyone has been hurt so much. Going to relationships are really difficult. Everybody has so much baggage, so much hurt, so much pain, and you see so much nonsense on TV and these type of things. You just already go into relationships scarred, even if you've never been in a relationship, because you see these negative views of relationship all the time. You see the men versus women on the internet. You see these, it's just so negative. So you have a negative view of relationships. And everybody doesn't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to give. I don't want to get hurt again, or I don't want to give people rope to hurt me. I don't want to let you in, then you use it against me, or you try to, so relationships are very tough these days. Just getting into them, they're very difficult. Nobody wants to give an inch. Vulnerability, what is that? Nobody's doing that. Vulnerable is meeting you out to eat. That's vulnerable now. Go out and meet somebody, you were vulnerable because the world is so crazy. People are just rushing into relationships, having sex, having babies, saying they're in relationships, but don't know these people they're with. And that's the problem. We really need to take both men and women. Need to take more time vetting each other, getting to know each other, finding out about each other, and then seeing where the relationship can go. Because all these things that you're going to find out are going to come out. But it's easier for them to come out before you guys had sex, before you had a baby, before you've been together for a year and don't know who this person is. Find those things out early instead of wasting your time. So this way it's easier. Like when there's no skin in the game, I can leave you if I don't care. But If we had a
I can
baby,
leave you
in
in the
there,
skin in the game. What are you talking about?
Thugging over
True.
there, boy. But
True.
I think people now, it's a lack of romance, but it's a lack of soul in our community. Our community is very soulless, and a lot of the heart is gone. It used to actually be you would be nervous of maybe getting your heart broken, but you were willing to take the chance because of the possibility of the
Yes.
greatness that you could get out of it, and the possibility of love that's gone.
right?
And
Right.
or it hasn't been shown to the other ones, to the younger
Well, you're right.
generations. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
And with us in our generation, we didn't make mistakes, but we at least had it at some point where we had the opportunity to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like we came from still having romantic music and dances and dates. You actually could have did that.
Yes.
Fast forward
And
to everything is so transactional, right?
Yep.
Everything's transactional. You're worried about who gonna pay.
that part.
Like really, I'm when I go out, I'm like, how much gonna pay for it? You know, I got a flowers, movie, and a dinner. And I'm gonna get some. Like, how am I pay?
You
for it?
done took all the romance out.
And did I take it out, or do women take it out as well?
The
Because
women
when they
take
go
it
out,
out.
when they want,
Well, I hear that. Yes.
It's both sides, right? When you go out and you want,
Yeah.
I need this, and I'm getting 2 meals, and you got to pay for my babysitter. When you start now itemizing things for us to go out with, it does start to become transactional.
Yeah.
That's
Right. And either side is being accountable for that. Right. This is just becoming how we date now. And like Vaughn said, there is no loving anymore. There is no courtship. What is courtship?
Man,
You
let me
actually
ask
are courting if you start courting a girl. Like sometimes girls like, what's wrong with you?
they call you a simp.
Right. Right. That's
No,
what I
really.
said last week. They call you a
remember
simp.
we agreed.
Really?
You know what it is?
Because
Think
they
about
don't know.
this. Think about this, Daryl. They don't slow dance.
What is that?
You don't. Right.
You know what I mean?
You
What is
don't
that?
slow dance. All you gotta think, if they slow dance, you gotta hold a girl. You can hold her intimately, but not sexually. You actually get to talk. You actually get to feel her, like her rhythm, her free. You remember that? Like I got rhythm. She gave me rhythm.
Right.
They don't get that rhythm no more.
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? If
You remember the next
romance is
song?
gone,
She's real close. Dancing
real
is
close.
real close, making it hard for me.
Whoa. That's where it started. That's where it started. Nah. Bad. The bad song. It's a bad song, but it really was R. Kelly. You remember he had this? Remember R. Kelly's slow dance song? Hey, Mr. DJ, why don't you slow this party down? So, ladies, and here I fly. They don't know I can sing. I ain't singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
hear it. They all gonna flock in right now. Pay attention.
But they gonna call in on that
we
voice.
don't have
lyrics.
We went away from that. Well, even the lyrics and songs that don't suggest that. They talk about my booty pink and my buddy home brown. I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
right. The lyrics are crazy. You know.
So,
And she just came out with a lip gloss, and she got like Discharge. The name
Did you
is Discharge.
see that?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
But
Right. So it's just
God.
like
It's
our
gone.
community is
It's
allowed.
gone.
It's our community allowed it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like in a sense, our
and
community
it goes back
allowed
to accountability. We don't have accountability for
Account-
self. So
But
we
how
allow
do we
these
get
things
it
to happen.
back? How do we get it back?
I don't know if we can get
literally. No, we
I
can.
don't want to
But
lose faith in
are
that.
you willing to? But are you
Right.
willing to do it? And
And
you
that's
see what
the
I'm saying? Like
problem. Most people
gotta-
aren't willing to be uncomfortable
Hmm.
or
So-
care enough
Or-
to hold other people accountable.
Hmm.
or listen.
And when
or
you
that
start talking
dying-
about messing with people's money,
right? Because I'm about to say, things progress. Like even to remember, we
Yeah.
had red light back in the day. They had the red light parties and things. They
Mhm.
become things start
more and
becoming
more and more.
more acceptable,
Right.
and some things are not as acceptable anymore. Like the slow dancing was a thing. Now it's not really a thing. Things are moving in a direction where the new breed are like, this is what it is. And it's like, oh, these are the old people trying to bring us back to a time that's not
Yeah.
here anymore. Right.
So,
Hmm.
And that's the problem, because things are progressing and like I said, and there's money involved. There's a lot of marketing dollars being put in marketing this new type of generation to go to be debaucherous.
Yeah.
So
Right.
your soul.
That's the problem. So
you-
old people, change doesn't come from the old; it comes from the young.
Right.
Right.
So
And if
right-
this is what the youth are coming up being acceptable. They don't even know anything different.
So
I was
basically,
watching something real last time. I was watching something, and they were talking about like people these young kids really don't know who Jay-Z is like that. Right. They don't know those people who we held up like that. And I'm like, wow, things are really changing. They have a different and I'm starting to hear their music like, and I feel like I'm old now. I'm like, this is trash. What is this garbage?
Right.
Disgusting.
What
I
you
sound
said,
like my mom, you know what I mean? Turn that hippity hop off.
right.
Right.
When you said something about the money, right, and things are changing. So how much did it cost to buy black people's souls? How much did it cost to buy our souls?
To really nothing, right? Because they didn't have to pay us for anything.
They
stole
say
it.
not
They
that
took it.
much.
Right.
Not
So they took it, right?
Wow.
And if you think about it, like I said, you can get all these things can be bought back, but the price of it would be a mentality. It would literally be a mentality of the 60s or the 40s of an ex or someone like that. And everyone, and that would be community based, not religious based, none of that.
But
our kids now,
when you talk about community, what do you mean, right? Because
when I say community, I mean commune. People in the neighborhood, people inside of your household, from your house outward. So from your house into everything that's connected to your house, which would lead to your whole entire surrounding. So it would start in-house and outward, holding the mother and father, they first being held accountable, then making your children accountable.
But that's the thing. You hold them accountable to what level, right?
So
we can't hold them to a standard from the 70s, right?
So I didn't say that. I said the mentality.
Standard, right? We know we have to find a new standard. We're here now. We can't say go backwards.
You can't say go backwards. You can't say go backwards, but gravity has always been the same, right? It's always been the same. You make kids no matter what. You make kids the same way. It's all the same. So
but
what you need,
they're made the same.
So what you need is to have that backbone. There's no stability first, nothing upward. There's no backbone in our community. There's no backbone. Everything is allowed. There's no gate.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about being progressive, but what they're talking about is allow people to not have accountability for their actions. That's all that's happening.
But you keep saying there hasn't, especially so again, before segregation was the only time we really had community. After that, there hasn't really been, just because we live in the same area don't mean we're community, right? We haven't been. People kind of are operating on their own or however they want to act anyway, right? Because there is no, every area has a different way of doing things, right? So first of all, you got to come together as a people. I don't know how we got here. This
accountability.
But it would have to be a mass accountability. But remember, we're not on. And when I talk about people of color are not on the same page about anything.
So take out the color.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
take out the color.
And let's start at home.
Wait a minute. But that means your home may be run different than my home. There is thing where we have
different, but still on the accord of accountability, of respect,
accountability is subjective.
expectations.
It's subjective. What you may think you want to hold your family to may be totally different than we don't. That's what I'm saying. We don't have a common theme for us.
But see, that's what happens. But see, once you hold accountability in the home, right? You put the idea into your children's
you
head.
have to start bigger than that because we don't have a baseline for anything. So if we can have a whole bunch of accountability in everybody's home, that's not going to transcend.
But listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Small step first. You don't build a building from the top. You start at the ground. So if you have accountability, in your house, right?
Okay.
It doesn't matter whatever you're teaching your children. You're giving them some sort of guideline. Every man has to have a guideline. They got to have a code. You're giving them some sort of code to live by. Not everything is allowed in your life. When they go out into the world and they start talking and dealing with other people that have been raised to have some sort of accountability or a code, then they start adjusting. Everybody has a code. and then they're in the community now outside of your house. The people they're communing with, they start to set codes amongst themselves. It's the same thing like when a bunch of kids get together and play football. Everybody live in a different house, but when we get here, these are the rules, and that's going to keep
that
growing.
Game is
growing.
Defined already. Listen, you're playing a game that's defined. There is no definition of
argue
black
semantics
community,
all
what it
you
looks
want.
like.
You
There is
can
none.
argue semantics all you want. All the little
No, it's
tiny
not
things.
semantics. These are facts, right? The
So
facts
you
are
can do
there
that.
are no defined community things that we.
And that's why you
Black
start
people
at
don't know what they're
home.
called yet. If you don't even know what you're called yet, how are you going to build on anything?
And as I said,
We
take it
have
away
to
from
start
black
at the
people.
beginning.
Right now, it's poor. Right now, you got poor people. You have everybody looking like everybody, whether you're black, indigenous, whatever. Everybody looks like everybody. The white kids listen to the same thing and dress just like the
But
black
stop.
kids.
Wait, real fast. They feel differently about it because they still feel the
That's
hierarchy. I'm better than you. So we're
That's
not the
fine.
same. Just because people
not the
co-opt
same.
our culture, there's still a thing of how they feel about it.
We're not the same, but what you just said right there established what I was talking about, treating people in the home. They were taught that in their home and they carried it
Right,
outside.
because they came from a base where they know where they can track their lineage to, so they feel differently. So, but then we can keep spinning our wheels on this, and I'm not going to make this pro-black conversation right now.
It's not a pro-black. You turned it pro-black, man.
It is because that's what it is. If it's our community, it would have to be for us. We can't. Nobody else can help us. We have to help ourselves first, and then they have to help. But go ahead.
You know, sometimes accountability to people who lack awareness can feel like an insult or an attack. And it is not your responsibility to correct the ignorance or make it plain for them to understand. Sometimes you just have to plant the seed and remove yourself from the equation. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's how you know you've reached another level of maturity. And that's what growth is all about. You know,
Leanne, is he accountable for that little beard he has? I don't know.
He's absolutely accountable for that.
Oh my God.
So, what do you guys feel about that? When in being, I guess when you're trying to make someone wear something, it's not your job to really enforce it. You just tell them and let them do what they want with it.
That's what I just said.
Okay.
There's some truth to that, I guess, but I think it also depends on how much it impacts your life or what's happening for you at that moment. That, you know, how much you're planting the seed and running from it, or are you going to deal with them on it because it's affecting you directly?
Right. So I believe planting a seed, and then you do have to water it. Right. The seed is not going to grow without watering. So sometimes you just planting that seed, it may not take. So I guess it depends on who it is or what it is, and how much you're invested into the person and them. But you know, sometimes I do think you have to try to water that seed to help it grow. Leanne, you got one more? Give us one more, because I see Doc give me the wrap it up sign over there.
That's not fair, because she did not.
She scratched her neck like 3 times, like. Look, I got it, Doc. I hear you. She's like, well, be accountable for my actions. And
what's wrong with you, man?
And Doc, we coming off a birthday. We need rest.
She's.
We need
now,
rest.
partied all month,
right?
Pay attention. You see how Neil try to get a party. It's like we need. I was talking about.
It is. We Leos. We Leos.
You look refreshed.
You gonna get the neck for that. We Leos.
See, that's the problem with Leos. They're not accountable for anything I see.
Never. I'll take it tonight. Never.
Leos think it's an attack when you make them accountable for something. Hey, babe, I didn't like the way the chicken was. Well, make your own chicken then.
Exactly.
Oh, man. She gonna say exactly. Now you messing up. You messing up.
Doc, I'm tired. After 9 o'clock is exactly.
You let them talk long enough. The truth comes out. Thanks, Neil.
You're so stupid.
I told the cat, man, like 2 weeks ago. I said, man, don't be a partial adult. You know what I'm saying? Cat was asking me for some money, right? I said, you want to be a partial adult, like you want to be an adult with your leisure. want to be an adult when you go to the club. You want to be an adult when you smoke weed. Like, I ain't judging you. Just don't be a partial adult, right? Don't be a partial adult when it's convenient, right? You want to be a partial adult when you drinking, right? But when it's time for accountability, responsibility, the things that'll get your life in order, you don't want to be an adult full time, right? You want to be an adult when it's comfortable.
You decide what you consume. You decide what you believe. You decide who you surround yourself with. You decide what you put out. Take on accountability.
You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. Until you get to that point, you let you down. You always want to blame other people. You always want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You just said you're giving 50%. You owe you an explanation. You owe you an explanation. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to put yourself on punishment. You need to tell you no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts, no, we working out now. No more alcohol, not right now. I can't handle it right now. You need to tell you that you owe you something.
Wow, he meant that. He said that with his
yelling.
I know, right?
Chest, right? He said it with his chest, didn't he?
Right?
Yes.
He trying to scare you into being accountable.
You
better listen. Okay.
Sound like he came straight out of a Scared Straight program.
Right. I ain't gonna do it no more. I promise.
I'll be accountable.
Right.
Wow.
But that's kind of what we said at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know how hard it is to look in that mirror and take all the responsibility.
Right.
Without dishing out some blame to others.
Right. But accountable, you can't be accountable with a but.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Well, you can.
Uh-oh.
I like that, Doc. Yes. Who says you can't, right?
Woo!
Oh, boy.
Peace. So it was a great night. Let's just wrap this thing up. Let's get some last words. Neil, what do you have for us?
Yeah, accountability. That's a tough word. That's a hard one. I think it's hard on both sides of the gender spectrum.
We agree.
I think if you can't turn that mirror toward you and look at yourself, which many of us struggle with, then have somebody in your circle that you do trust with the constructive criticism, whether it be a spouse or whomever, that you know is well-intended and is not going to use that against you, but to help you grow. So have somebody in your circle that you can bounce some things off of for accountability.
Vaughn, what do you got, bro?
Yeah, I was just listening to what you were saying. I don't have nothing. Just you guys always give great insight on everything, and as always, Daryl's my interpreter. Thank you for balancing me out. Once again, but y'all, this is a really good. I like the platform with what everybody said tonight because there was a lot of validity and everything. And accountability starts with you, and you got to be willing. You got to be willing to take one more cut, even if it's from yourself, and just be like, all right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Little, what do you have for us tonight? Thanks, Vaughn.
Why don't we take accountability and make it extreme accountability?
Okay.
Everything in your world is your fault. The good, the bad, the ugly. Okay? You take accountability for that, you'll be in a better place. Just understand that everything is your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it work out or not, it is absolutely your fault. And I speak this from a person who practices extreme accountability.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Go forth and live life.
Oh my gosh.
Lord help us.
No, for real.
And Doc, what do you have for us? Can
Well,
you follow that up?
accountability involves some hard things like honesty, vulnerability, being able to not blame other people. So it's all hard, but I think that it's something that you could do, especially if you're able to be empathetic, and that means towards yourself and the other person. Because if you're coming from a place of empathy, then you're putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And you're being gentle with yourself when you are taking accountability for things that you've done or said.
I agree. I think that we really, when being accountable, I think point that finger at yourself first before you say something about anybody else, whatever else. Point at yourself and see where you could be better, what you did, what you feel you did wrong, and things of that nature. And also, it's good, like Ruth said, have someone that you trust and you trust their opinion and that you can talk to. But don't be the friend that people accountability shop to. They call you and they only take your advice when it aligns with them.
Oh, yep.
Right. If they can't take your advice when it don't align with them, they're not to be accountable. Right. And they're just looking, they're trying to shop their view. They don't want to be accountable. They want you to confirm what they already feel.
Good point.
Right? So don't be somebody's accountability partner. If they can't take you telling the truth, get away from them too. But hey, we want to thank everybody tonight. The calls were great. Please continue to call in. We love hearing your voices. We had some great callers tonight. Hit that YouTube channel, like, subscribe, share. Know that this program is recorded. So when you see it on Facebook, it's probably recorded because I get calls all week long from people talking about, are you live? We're not.
We're live on Friday nights at 8 p.m.
8 o'clock. That's what it says in the call.
Right.
And it's funny, I get a lot of calls all week long. People are calling. It's crazy how many people call and will ask, I heard what y'all just said. I got something to say about it. And sometimes I listen because I'm like, well, what do you got to say? So we like it. We love that you guys are growing with us because this doesn't happen without you guys. We really love doing this, and we do this because we like it. There's nothing more, nothing less. We just like doing it. So continue to, if you have anything you want to talk about, reach out to anybody you see on here. Continue to go to our Facebook group, Nothing But Answers. So, invite your friends. Continue to comment. Some great comments in there. We love it. We're all learning from each other, and it's all very respectful. So it's really good. We do have some respectful conversation, but we do have real conversation, right? So it's not we don't pussyfoot around. All right. So that being said, we thank you for joining us tonight. Please join us next week at 8 o'clock for more Nothing But Answers, because you see, we give the answers. Leanne, hit the button. Deuces.
Bye.